Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. We're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime studio. The death toll in the Wayanad landslides have now risen to more than 150, and the fear is that it could go upwards of 200. Even now, even in the third day, a little over 100 people are still unaccounted. But it is not as if this incident happened in isolation or there were no forewarnings about it. As far back as 2011, more than 10 years ago, the Gadgil Commission, under a famous ecologist, Madhav Gadgil, had warned about exactly this. 3 years after that, in 2014, the Kasturirangan Commission had scaled down the warnings and the dangers that could happen because of potential landslides, but it came to the same conclusion, that there has to be some sort of check and balance when it comes to rampant illegal construction, rampant commercial activity, the loosening of the soil in that area, and of course, whether or not it is able to keep up with climate change and the cloudbursts that have now become almost a routine affair in that belt. So that brings us to a very blunt question which must be asked. After all, 150 plus lives have been lost on this question. Was Wayanad a man-made tragedy?
The landslide was so strong that it carried a lot of debris, including rock and water. People have lost their houses completely, and they put up this bridge, which is now a lifeline to move men, material and relief supply.
There are teams which are watching the river, and in case there is, the bodies are being moved through the current, so the teams have been placed there, and all action has been done.
There is an urgent need for mapping of landslide-prone areas and to take up mitigation measures and an action plan to address the growing frequency of natural calamities in the ecologically fragile regions.
मैं कुछ कहना नहीं चाहता था मगर भारत सरकार की अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम पर सवाल किए गए, इसलिए मैं कहता हूं प्लीज लिसन अस, मत चिल्लाइए, प्लीज रीड इट. जो वार्निंग भेजा है उसको पढ़िए जरा.
All right, so were the red flags ignored? We'll get to that in 1 second, but I want to show you what exactly happened in this belt in Wayanad, from a place called Mepadi, which is in the upper reaches of the hills, all the way to Churalmala, which is where the maximum damage was caused. Remember, there were two cloudbursts which resulted in landslides. The first cloudburst happened about 1 a.m. on Tuesday night, or Tuesday early morning, I must say. 1 a.m. was the first cloudburst that had happened. Remember, already in the 24 hours leading up to that cloudburst, this region had received about 350 millimeters of rain. That was just in the 24 hours prior to the cloudburst that happened at 1 a.m. Then, the first landslide was reported in a place called Mundakai, which is just some distance away from this place called Melpadi. This happened at about 2 a.m. in the morning. And then it didn't stop there. There was a second cloudburst and a second landslide that happened. That was in a place called Churalmala. Churalmala literally translates itself into a hill full of bamboo sticks. This happened at a little past 4 a.m. Now this is again further downstream. Then this caused major landslides in which it went further downstream to places like Pudumala, where there was a major landslide which claimed 17 lives back in 2019. So this whole Mepadi to Pudumala areas have witnessed landslides in the past as well. It's not the first time this has been happening there. So apart from Mundakai and Churalmala, where the landslide struck, then further downstream you have places like Attamala, Nulpura, which have also been severely affected. You can see how the river was in spate and it split into two directions after flowing from Melpadi and after crossing Churalmala. So this is exactly what happened. Two cloudbursts, two landslides, and that too within a space of 3 hours, in which up to 300 mm of rain was received in this area. Earlier, I spoke to Mr. Madhav Gadgil. He's a renowned ecologist. He was the first one who had warned against such landslides and dire consequences. He said this way back in 2011. This is what Mr. Gadgil had to say. I want to go across first to the person who wrote the first report targeting and talking about the Western Ghats and what needs to be done in these ecologically sensitive zones. Madhav Gadgil is a renowned ecologist. He wrote this report way back in 2011. Thank you very much, Mr. Gadgil, for joining us. The report that you had submitted way back in 2011 had said that 75% of the over 129,000 square kilometers of the Western Ghats, primarily in Kerala, Karnataka, parts of Tamil Nadu, Goa, etc., had to be declared environmentally sensitive because of the dense forests and the presence of large number of endemic species. It's been almost a decade plus now since that report was submitted. Why is it that no government, no state government in any of these states, Kerala, Karnataka, have wanted to notify and implement your guidelines?
Let me make a correction. Now this 75% which you are talking about, that is actually by the mandate given to us that it is all ecologically sensitive. But in our report, we were very aware that you cannot have सब घोड़े 12% जैसा same treatment throughout the Western Ghats areas, that some areas are less sensitive and we can open them up for certain kinds of development. Some areas are medium sensitivity and other kinds of developments perhaps with some restraint should be permitted. And then you have areas which are highly sensitive.
The reason, many of these people, whether it's the local folks there, whether it is elected representatives there, the reason they say, it's not practical or feasible to earmark 30% or 40% as ecologically sensitive is because there are commercial activities involved there. People have to run their lives. People are invested in agriculture in that area, or people are invested in commercial activities in that area. What may be the sort of compromise? Is there a way to sort of compensate whatever revenue losses or commercial losses there may be in order to protect the environment so that we don't have a situation like we had yesterday where over 150 people are now dead?
No, it is nonsense to say that what is permitted in, say, this Vaitiri Meppadi area, where this has happened, is actually helping anybody's livelihoods. It is only helping the tea estate owners who are rich people and the resort owners who are rich people. That it creates hardly any employment. And who are the people who have been killed? They are people which the tea estate owners have forced to live in very bad quality housing, very close to the ravines, which is why these have been washed away. This I have not seen with my own eyes, but Puthumala was very similar in the same area. I have visited and seen all this, and it is those 150 corpses, not a single one who is well off is there. It is all these poor laborers who are very badly treated who are dying.
All right, Mr. Madhav Gadgil, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, so there's also a political war of words between what Amit Shah said in Parliament today and what the Chief Minister of Kerala, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, said. But we'll get to that in 1 second. I want to open this up to our panelists who are joining us. Dr. Shama Mohammed is National Spokesperson of the Congress Party. Tom Wadakan is Spokesperson of the BJP. Vivek Srivastav is a leader of the left parties. C.P. Rajendran is a geologist and adjunct professor at the National Institute of Advanced Studies. Dr. Emmett Swaminath is former Principal Chief Conservator of Forests for the Government of Karnataka. Let me start with you, Dr. Shama Mohammed. What happened in Wayanad was a tragedy that was waiting to happen. It was forewarned on multiple occasions. First, in 2011, in the Gadgil Commission report. I spoke to Mr. Madhav Gadgil just moments ago, and you heard that conversation. And then subsequently, 3 years later, in the Dr. Kasturi Rangan Commission report. In both of those reports, it's very clear what the government, from the State Secretariat down to the Tehsildar level, has to do. But that's not been done. either when the UDF was in power or now in the last 10 years when the LDF has been in power. So this was a disaster that was simply waiting to happen. This is a man-made disaster.
Hi, Zaka. I just heard what Mr. Amit Shah was saying, and I was shocked. You see, there is a disaster in Kerala today where more than 150 people have died. Let's understand that. Many are missing. The numbers can go up to 200. It's my home state. And in terms, when a calamity happens, all Keralites stick together. I'm thinking about those people who are displaced. You know, they don't have homes. How do we get them homes? They have no food. We can't reach them. This is the issue. The Home Minister of India has the audacity to start the blame game today when he is supposed to be sending funds and helping the state of Kerala. Now, let me tell you what I've been through just now. You know, I'm exhausted. 1.5 hours from Nehru Stadium to my house in Anand Lok. The traffic light at South X not working. Can you believe it? Who is it under? The Home Minister of this country. No traffic police there. All right. This is the heart of Delhi. You know where I live. And then my car is stuck in the water there. I get out of the car, walk in that water without slippers, come to my home for your debate because there is no administration. There's a fight between the government, the BJP government and the Aam Aadmi Party, and we suffer. And he talks about Kerala. When last floods happened, a natural calamity happened. What happened when we were supposed to get 700 crores from the Dubai Sheikh? Who stopped it? The government of then. That is the Bharatiya Janata Party government. Let me ask him. He got enough and more funds in PM cares from outside. Did he stop it? No. When a natural calamity like this is there, we all have to stand together and we will look at them. Even I know what the CPM government, LDF government, there are flaws. There has been quarry happening, illegal quarry. There has been, you've given license, to many resorts there. But I also want to ask Amit Shah, Bobby Bridge collapsed. How many corporators have gone to jail? There has been in his home state, the fire at the gaming center. How many corporators have gone to jail? What do you all do? You bulldoze the resort. You will bulldoze these, the gaming center. Why are we not holding all these corporators accountable, government service accountable?
Okay, you still didn't answer my question, which is that the Gadgil Commission, the Kasturirangan Commission, clear recommendations were made. The committees were constituted. The recommendations were made when the Congress was in power, and for 13 years now, neither Congress nor left has implemented that. And I doubt, and I dare say this, if at all the BJP were to come to power in Kerala, I don't think they will implement it either because commercial and vested interests are involved. But be that as it may, I want to play out what Shama Mohammed referred to earlier today. One second, ma'am, one second. This whole war of words that's been going on between what Amit Shah said in Parliament and what Pinarayi Vijayan, the Chief Minister, who said in Kerala, contradicting what the Home Minister said, that there was some kind of early warning to Kerala and to Wayanad in particular about these cloud bursts. Let's listen into the two bites and then I'll go across to Tom Vadakar.
23 जुलाई को केरल सरकार को अर्ली वार्निंग भारत सरकार की ओर से दी गई थी 23 जुलाई को 7 दिन फिर 24 को गई, फिर 25 को गई, 26 तारीख को मान्यवर ये कहा गया कि 20 सेंटीमीटर से ज्यादा वर्षा होगी, भारी वर्षा होगी, लैंडस्लाइड होने की संभावना है, मड भी रस होकर आ सकता है और लोग इसके अंदर दबकर मर भी सकते हैं। मैं कुछ कहना नहीं चाहता था मान्यवर, मगर भारत सरकार की अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम पर सवाल किए गए, इसलिए मैं कहता हूं प्लीज लिसन अस, मत चिल्लाइए, प्लीज रीड इट। जो वार्निंग भेजा है उसको पढ़िए जरा।
അതിനെ ഗൗരവമായി കാണാൻ നമുക്ക് കഴിയേണ്ടതായിട്ടുണ്ട്। ഇപ്പോൾ ഓരോ ദിവസവും വർദ്ധിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന കാർബൺ ബഹിർഗമനം, അതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി വരുന്ന ആഗോള താപനം, ഇത് എല്ലാം ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുണ്ട്. അതിൻ്റെ ഒന്നും മറ്റു കാര്യങ്ങളിലേക്ക് ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ വിശദമായി കടക്കുന്നില്ല, അതൊന്നും പറയാനുള്ള സമയമല്ല ഇത്. അപ്പോൾ ദുരന്തമുഖത്ത് ശരിയല്ലാത്ത പ്രചരണങ്ങൾ നടത്തരുതെന്ന് മാത്രമേ എനിക്ക് അഭ്യർത്ഥിക്കാനുള്ളൂ.
Okay, so Tom Vadakar, this is what the Chief Minister has said and the Congress spokesperson was also echoing this. Is this the time to play politics, to say that, oh, we won the state government on 23rd and 24th and 26th, etc., when the fact is that everyone seems to have been caught napping at the wheel? No one saw this coming. There were not one but two cloudbursts, almost 300 mm of rain over a period of just 4 or 5 hours. And the result is today 150 people are dead. Is now the time to play politics?
Who is playing politics, Zaka? The fact of the matter is, 12 years, about 13 years, the Madhav Gadgil report was there.
Tom, you have to reduce the TV volume, please. Otherwise, it's echoing here in the studio.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
13 years or 12 years roughly, this report was there. No action was taken. Reminder went from our government year to year, reminding them of this report. And I think when the Congress spokesman was not in the party at that juncture, late Mr. T. Thomas of the Congress party rebelled against the party line, saying Gadgil report must be implemented. And there was also talk about an impending disaster, a dam which was built 100 years back. And there is no solution from the left government or no support from the Congress government and DMK government the other side. That is another issue. Now, if this 1 decade gap, and now what is it? The information has been coming from various science institutions, telling them the specifics, Zakat specifics, areas where this is going to happen. Then on the 18th, the first signal was sent, 24th, 26th, a team of 9 teams were sent of the NDRF. They landed in Cochin. Are these signals not enough? The red alert must come from Delhi. He is not, either he's gone color blind. There are other ministers and CPM officials who are saying, yes, they were there. And now the Chief Minister is lying on television and saying that he has no such indication. Be what it may. But the Congress party, 5 years of Rahul Gandhi, I want you to go on record on this, Zaka. Has he raised one issue on Wayanad? The situation, the ground situation. One word has he spoken in Parliament that must be on record. He is not bothered. Now he is coming. Now he is coming for what? He is coming there to do a caste census of people who have died. This is the lip service that the Congress party talks about. She talked about
So Dr. Shama Mohammed, respond to that. Why didn't Rahul Gandhi, as Member of Parliament of Wayanad, raise the issue of mapping these ecologically sensitive zones in his time as Member of Parliament there in the last 5 years? He's not raised this in Parliament. That's what the BJP spokesperson is arguing.
No, Rahul Gandhi has always spoken for Wayanad many a times, and I am telling the BJP spokesman this is lying. But let me take his attention to something very important. Why has the Prime Minister of India not gone to Manipur? Can you tell me? Why has the Prime Minister of India not gone to Manipur?
But Shama, every issue facing the country does not have to come back to why did the Prime Minister not go to Manipur? No. Let's talk about Wayanad, please. Stick to the debate tonight. Talk about Wayanad. Your party leader has been the Member of Parliament from there. Did he or did he not raise the issue of mapping of ecologically sensitive zones in his constituency when he was MP from there? It's a yes or no answer.
No, I'm going to tell you this. Mapping of the ecological constituency, he is not the government there. This man is not letting me speak.
No, go ahead.
He's not the government there. All right, it's the central government. Let me speak. The central government is there. There's the state government. He's a member of parliament. Whenever there has been issues there, he's the first one to reach there. The elephant issue, you remember, it's a very, very important issue in Kerala, in Wayanad, where many people have died when the elephants from the forest have come in. He's the first one there. He sees to it that they get compensation. Rahul Gandhi has stood with the people of Wayanad, and I can say, mapping. I can also bring up issues like pollution in Delhi. What has the Prime Minister of India done?
What has that got to do with what has happened in Wayanad? Why are you diverting? Come on, stick to the issue. Let me ask Mr. Vivek Srivastava. No, let me ask Mr. Vivek Srivastava. I want to focus on the straight and narrow tonight. And that is 150 people have died. It could be 200 by tomorrow morning because of absolute negligence by government after government. It's not like the problem was not forewarned. It's not like the solution was not there at hand. I want to read to you what the Union Environment Ministry told the Lok Sabha as recently as July 22nd, Mr. Vivek Srivastava, that in order to protect the rich biodiversity of the Western Ghats, the ministry has issued a draft notification on eco-sensitive zones to an area of 56,825 square kilometers spread over 6 states, Goa, Gujarat, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, based on the report by the commission chaired by Dr. Kasturi Rangan. The states have persistently asked for modification of eco-sensitive area in the aforesaid draft notification. We're talking about a commission that was set up and gave its report in 2014 and the state government of Kerala cannot agree on which are the eco-sensitive zones 13 years later or 10 years later.
Look, I think there is a big confusion on as to what is an eco-sensitive zone and what is a cloudburst and what is a rainfall of 140 mm in 24 hours, which is 5 times that of normal. So this was a situation which was a very extreme kind of a situation. It happened in other states. It happened in Bihar. 13 bridges went off. I mean, I do not know what NDRF was doing there as Mr. Tom Vatican is talking to me. First of all, let me tell you, 45 relief camps have been set and 3,000 people have already been accommodated. This is point number 1.
So that's after 150 people have died. What will you tell those families? 150 people have died and then you're saying 45 camps have been set up.
Yeah, no, sir. I mean, let's not try to have blame games and accusations. When the Chief Minister has given a statement and said that majority damage did not take place in the eco-sensitive zone, and this was
sir, there are 13 villages in Wayanad alone identified by Dr. Gadgil way back in 2011. Out of those 13, three of the affected villages today are part of those 13. Has any ecologically sensitive work been done there in those villages?
Sir, let us talk science.
Let's talk science. Yes.
The report came 13 years. Let's talk science. Okay, I am also an engineer. Let's talk science. This report of Madhav Gadgil firstly was very extreme in nature. Many experts did not agree on it. This is point number 1. That is why for more realistic modifications, Kasturi Rangan Commission and the committee was formed and he gave another report.
Then what
happened?
Point
number 1. Point number 2, the report that, I mean, now listen. The report that you were talking of, which year was it given? It was given 13 years ago, right? Now, are you trying to tell me very clearly, I mean, if there is a student of science on the panel, that you were predicting a calamity based on the report 13 years from that report?
Sir, what are you talking about? The same Mepadi place in 2019, there was a similar landslide. Of course, the number of people dead was far less back then. But the point is, the fact that this area is ecologically sensitive, it's in ecologically sensitive zone 1 and people there need to be moved out, and that there should not be rampant commercial activity was flagged almost a decade and a half ago.
No. There was, Wayanad is still not a very rampantly commercial area.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Have you driven down from Coorg through Sultan Bateri going into Wayanad? There are lakhs of private homestays, resorts, all kinds of tourist stuff that have come up in the last 10 years. What are you talking about? Most of them are illegal.
Resorts? No, sir. Commercial activity and resorts are very much a part of the ecosystem and they can be a part of their architecture.
This is what was recommended in 2018 by a document, a disaster management committee report of the state government, Dr. Srivastava. Let's talk science. Disaster management committee of the state government circulated a document which was to have been converted into a bill and passed in the assembly, but because of vested interests it got stalled. This is what that document says. It recommended a complete ban on mining, quarrying, sand mining, a phasing out of all existing mines within 5 years from the date of notification, a ban on new thermal power projects or expansion of existing plants, a ban on new or expansion of polluting industries as specified by the State Pollution Control Board or the Central Pollution Control Board. This was in 2018, 6 years ago, a document that a state government body under your government, the left government, had come up with. And what have you done about it? Are you telling me there's no sand mining in Wayanad?
No, we have implemented.
No quarrying in Wayanad? What are you talking about?
No. Let us not play politics over death for TRPs.
Sir,
Number one, Zaka.
Sir, I'm sorry.
So your tone
I'm
and
sorry.
tenure is not of a journalist today.
I'm sorry.
You are selling
that
death to
if
increase
two
your
commissions
TRP.
under
Don't
the
do
UDF
that.
government have
Don't
come
do
to the
that.
same
Don't sell
conclusion,
death.
State
Don't
Disaster
sell death
Management
and
Authority
talk
has
in a
come to
sober
the same
manner.
conclusion.
Are
If
you trying to tell
politicians
me
and
if
inept
you are accusing
governments
the Kerala government-
inept
if
governments
you are accusing the
can't
Kerala
stop
government of rampant
rampant
corruption, I don't
illegal
agree.
commercial activity, then
That
I'm
is-
sorry. You should not be pointing fingers at journalists who are asking you these questions.
You are absolutely. I am going to. These are no logical questions.
What is not logical
The
about
rains
it?
were in
Are you
extreme after 13
denying
Okay,
that
give me an
the
answer. Give me an
CPM-led
answer. You give me
LDF
an
government
answer.
did not come out
140.
with this
No, you give me
document
an
in
answer.
2018?
140
Deny
mm
it.
of rain. Zaka,
Deny it,
listen now.
Mr. Srivastava.
Listen to me now.
Please
Listen to me
say
now.
that I
Listen
am
to me now
lying,
first. First
that
listen to
no
me.
such 2018 report
Sir,
commissioned by the
बताइए.
Pinarayi Vijayan government exists. Please say it.
Sir, you are correlating two wrong facts. I am asking you a simple question. Mr. Journalist, 140 mm of rains, 5 times the normal. कितने सालों बाद हुई है वहाँ?
Sir, in
After how many
2018,
years?
I want to remind
And
you.
if the
One
Guardian
second,
report,
one second.
no,
Sir,
listen,
sir. I come
don't
from that
remind me,
state,
sir.
so please
आप
don't
मुझे
argue
brains बताइए
argue on
पहले.
facts with me.
Yeah,
In
I have a
2018, when
government
the
in
big
that
floods
state.
happened in
Yeah, tell
Kerala,
me.
there was 400 mm of
140
rain in
mm
24
rain
hours.
happened in this
400
area. How
people
many
died.
years?
400.
In
And
this
if after
area-
that,
this area-
if after that,
That
the
is-
state government
that
has
is
not
not
learnt
because
its
of
lessons,
ecological,
then I'm sorry. Let God save God's
My
own
friend,
country.
the entire
CP
Kerala-
Rajendran is joining us.
entire
CP
Kerala has
Rajendran
got
is a geologist.
slopes
He's also a
lesser than
young
20
professor
degrees.
with the National Institute of Advanced Studies. Dr. Rajendran, is anything that I said wrong? You can argue that, okay, Gadgil Commission report was extreme. You can't completely ban all commercial activity. You can't completely ban all construction. Yes, agreed. But in identified ecologically most sensitive zones, is there even an attempt, Dr. Rajendran, to try and regulate rampant construction, rampant all of these resorts and private homestays and all of that from coming up? There are tourist attractions, zip lines in Wayanad, if anybody's visited there, zip lines which are tourist attractions going from one hill to another in the most ecologically sensitive zones. Is this even allowed? Dr. Rajendran, you're on mute. You have to unmute, sir, please. Thank you.
See, what I wanted to tell you is that, like I'm, all for Gadgil report, and it's an iconic report which is submitted, and unfortunately, it has not been able to be, the government, is not able to implement it. But the point I am trying to say here is, irrespective of the parties, you look at anybody, the political class, you starting from the Himalaya to the Western Ghat in the south, you will see the political class, towards the developmental project, whatever it is, the construction of road or, the thermal plants or whatever, irrespective of the parties, it is, they go for it. And see, I've been a person who've been writing and talking about the environmental management and stuff like that. And I've written a lot of articles on the Himalayan projects of road construction in the name of spiritual pilgrimage and all that stuff. And none of the parties have listened to that. You can see what is happening in the Uttarakhand. So my point here is, you don't have to differentiate here the parties here, whether it is the left front or the Congress or the BJP. To me, it looks all the same. When it comes to, talking about the environmental, degradation and, how the whole, the approach towards developmental projects, is scuttling, or, what is remaining as an environment in this country. I find it extremely sad from the part of the political class. That is one thing which I wanted to tell you. And coming to the Western Ghats, and in Kerala, what I would say is that, we had a number of, incidents of landslides there. And it's also true that, the incidences, the frequency has gone up. because it's all been discussed about the climate change. But what you can see is that from the reports and published papers from the experts is that that we are going to have a change in climate, and because of that we find the frequency of the intense rainfall has gone up. So, and especially a part like Kerala, where you have to face the brunt of the monsoon, starting this kind of a starting point. The winds blowing into the country, it is a starting point. So you have a very heavy rainfall there. So what is happening now is that in Wayanad, if you look at the 2019, it's a place called Pudumalai. You yourself mentioned about that. And it is about 2 to 3 kilometers from Mundakai. That's what I understand.
Yeah.
So it's the same region where you had a landslide, something similar to this.
In Maypadi in 2019 there was a similar landslide. Of course, the number of deaths was far less, but that was a forewarning. People should have known.
My point here is it's not a when you look at the state disaster landslide vulnerability map, you don't find that this part is included in that, possibly because it is an older map and it's not updated. But here what I wanted to tell you is that there is a lot of human interference that started not just few years ago. It started in 1980s. Where you have the plantations, the companies have started converting this land into tea plantation. What happens there is that, there is because there is the forest is cut off, the trees are cut away. And what happens is that, this land has changed, because it has become a tea plantation, and the soil, the quality has changed, and the composition also changed, eventually. It's a gradual process. So the point I'm trying to say is that in many places what you have is that you have root systems that are left under the soil, which is left. You cannot cut it away. So this gets degraded eventually, years, it's kind of a gradual process. And wherever you have those, you become depressions, and those depressions become, areas where the water can get collected and you can have soil piping.
Okay, let me also get in Dr. Swaminath into this. He's a former Principal Chief Conservator for the government of Karnataka. The multiple landslides, the cloudbursts, what we've seen, not just in Wayanad, I don't think it's a case in isolation. We've seen this in Uttarakhand, we've seen this in Himachal Pradesh, we've seen this in parts of Maharashtra, of course in varying degrees, nothing as drastic, as serious as what we're seeing in Wayanad. Despite the fact, whether it was in Joshimath or Kedarnath or now Wayanad, multiple committees, inquiries have warned that there are ecologically sensitive zones which need to be mapped and where there needs to be regulation of commercial activity. Why is it that no one, from the Tehsildar to the district collector, all the way up to the chief secretary and the chief minister in any of these states is interested or paying heed to these reports and what these reports say?
There has been increased activity of landslides throughout the country. I think if you look at the figures, from 1917 onwards, there are nearly 4,000 landslides, 4 to 4,500, and Kerala accounts nearly 59% of landslides. And also, as you were telling, whether they have been delineated, the vulnerable districts. I think they have done. See, Himalayas, they take, maximum, the numbers of the vulnerable sites. Nearly 78% of the area in the western Himalayas, Arunachal Pradesh followed by Mizoram and Uttarakhand. Then Western Ghats also very severe, but area wise it is just around 12% of the national area that is demarcated by the National Center for Earth Science.
Okay.
They have demarcated, and they have given some numbers like 31%, 40%, depending on the intensity of the landslides. I think this place where we had this Wayanad, 31.1% is quite vulnerable. I was just going to the report of 2018, where it has been very clearly they have identified any area receiving more than 120 millimeter of rainfall in 24 hours is below 99 percentile. That means a very area in Kerala will be
in this zone of, vulnerability.
Okay.
Because it received 409 millimeter in just 24 hours. The whole area must have been
leading up to
saturated. There was
this
no,
tragedy.
I think, place for, this water to percolate down, because it was like a buckets of water.
Okay. No, so that if you remember, even in 2018, even before the opening of the sluice gates of the Idukki Dam became a controversy, what actually led, well, the starting point of the 2018 floods was a cloudburst that happened in Idukki district. But this is going to be a phenomenon that we have to live with. No point saying, oh, it happens once in a century or it happens once in a few years. No, it's happening ever more frequently now, particularly in the last 10 years. What we can change and what we need to change if we need to protect lives is to put a serious check on commercial activity, rampant illegal construction, all of these private resorts and tourist homes mushrooming without any kind of legal clearances in what is ecologically the most sensitive zones. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. I really hope that we don't play politics, not just in a state like Kerala or Karnataka for that matter, or even Uttarakhand or Himachal Pradesh, because these are national treasures. These are nature's treasures, and it's upon us to protect these and to hand over to the next generation. Talking about, how